Hi, my name is Alina. I struggle with schizophrenia, and today I wanted to share my story about my mental hospital experience in Russia. and Before we start, I want to say that I'm shaking like that and I have tics like that is because um, my antipsychotic medication that I take for schizophrenia, um, because I've been taking them, I developed a disease called uh, tardive dyskinesia. So I hope it won't be too disturbing that I'm like all of my movements. Anyway, so how I ended up in a mental hospital. Um, well, last summer 2020, to I started to develop a pretty bad psychosis. And back then I was in Moscow, and my mom and we saw a few doctors, but none of them wanted to treat me outpatient. All of them wanted to put me in a hospital, which obviously I didn't want to agree to. And so at the end of the August, I had to go back to St. Petersburg. That's where I used to study at the time. That's where my university was situated. And yeah, I had to go back there, and in September, my studies began, and I struggled a lot with going to uni and studying because I was already in a pretty bad psychosis at that time, so it was exhausting and hard for me. So, and my boyfriend also started to tell me that it's getting too bad, and like he was like he tried to make me to see the doctor. I mean, we have a long distance relationship, so yeah, during our calls I was already pretty bad, so he insisted that I saw a doctor. And so healthcare system in Russia is free. Well, you can see private doctors, and private doctors are not free, but psychiatrists cost a lot. So being in St. Petersburg, I decided to go to a state hospital because, you know, if we have the opportunity to get treatment for free, why not use it? But not everything that's free is necessarily good. And that also applies to our healthcare system. I mean, it's could be better. Just gonna say that. And so yeah, I went to the hospital. I had an appointment with a psychiatrist there, and she seemed very nice. I explained all of my everything that I was experiencing, and I told her that the previous doctors told me to go to hospital to go inpatient, and I told her that I'm afraid that I don't want to. And so she was like, okay, no, that's no problem, because we have a daycare program here. And what it means is basically that you go to that, so you come to that daycare compartment, and at around 9 a.m. you have breakfast, you take your pills, then there's your free time. There are puzzles there, or you talk to doctors, just hang out there. Just you have to spend a few hours there before lunch. Then you have lunch, take pills again, and then you're around 2-3 p.m. you're free to leave, go home or whatever you want to. And so I thought it's perfect, because at least I'll be able to come back home in the afternoon and do homework, because I wanted to keep up with uni, because I was a straight A student at that time. And but the daycare didn't last long for me. That I felt already pretty bad, like my psychosis was pretty intense already, and so doctors obviously noticed that there. But what they did is like, I also think that it's a bit too much and too harsh, because they kind of lied to me to put me impatient, and it put me in a lot of stress, and even remembering it now brings me a lot of anxiety, because living through that moment is quite hard. And so what they did, after two or 3 days that I spent, in the daycare, the doctor at some point, she says, oh, can you go to another compartment, to another building in the territory, to see another doctor, because we want you to see other doctors to, so he could give like another opinion on your situation, because we're confused. She told me that. And she, I had to go to another department with a guardian, which didn't seem off to me at that time. I was like, yeah, of course. She sent a guardian to go with me, because I don't know where another department is exactly, where the doctor is, so seemed normal to me. And so I enter this department, and little did I know that this department is a place where you get registered and signed in to get inpatient. I didn't know that, obviously. And so I sat there waiting for my turn, because before me there was another person getting signed in. And so then the lady that signs you in, she calls me, and they start to like ask my name, my age, where I live, and stuff like that. Again, I didn't think much about it, but then they started to take my like other assistants there. They started to go through my stuff, and I had a backpack with me, and I had like my wallet, I don't know, like my book, an umbrella, like stuff like that, sanitizer or whatnot, I don't remember, but I had quite a few things. And he started to separate things into precious belongings and just regular belongings. So for precious goes like your phone, your credit cards, your wallet, and for other things like like pencils, pen, sanitizer, I don't know. And then they take my rings off and earrings, because it's also it went to the precious pile, because you're not allowed to have all the jewelry in mental hospital, obviously. And they grab my phone and tell me to turn it off. And at this point I realized that I'm in a lot of trouble, because now I can't call anyone, and something is happening, and I started to guess what's happening, and I just started crying like crazy. I didn't know how else to react. I was just begging them to let me go. I was like, please, but the doctor just told me that I'm supposed to see another doctor. She didn't tell me that I'm going inpatient. Please, like, don't take my things, please, like, let me go, let me explain. And they were like, it's okay, calm down, just let's go get changed. And so they undressed me, took all of my clothes that I was in, took them away, and they gave me hospital clothes, like this hospital robe or whatever, like slippers, hospital slippers, and they took away my clothes as well. They only they only gave me my book. They only allowed me to have my book, and then they walked me to the compartment, the mental hospital ward that I was signed into. And they showed me to my bed, and that's how it started. That's when it all began. 17th of September 2020. And so I don't remember much after that, the next few days, because when you arrive to the hospital, you are put in a special room. Well, all rooms have no doors, but I'll just call them rooms, because how else would you call them? So people who just like new patients or patients that in a bad state, they're put in a like watching room. So you're being watched 24/7 there, and there are like maybe 20 beds there, 20, 15, I don't know. So 20 other patients, and in that room you're only allowed to go to the bathroom and to the cafeteria. You're not allowed to walk in the corridors, and you're watched. And usually in this room, instead of pills, you're getting injections. So you're getting your medication like just injection, which is I think why I don't remember anything, because these injections, like I don't know, you just don't remember anything. So like I don't remember my first few days. Like, did I like eat? Did I drink water? What did I do? I guess I was just sleeping. And so the weirdest thing that they didn't call my mom or anyone. They didn't ask for anyone's phone, just to tell that, oh, Alina is in the hospital, don't look for her, because everyone was calling me and my phone was turned off, and they were like, they didn't know what to do. They called the police and everything, and just only in a few days after the hospital notified my mom, which is crazy. And so yeah, in a few days, I don't remember these first few days that I was getting injections. I only remember that one morning our blood was like, they had to draw our blood for like maybe to do some test or something. I don't really remember. And I remember that I passed out after that. And also, this is how I met my friend there. She's around my age, and it was her fourth time in the mental hospital, and she's bipolar. She was very nice. Like, my experience was much better because I had a friend. I met a friend there, and we kind of like, we wanted to stick together, and we spent our time together. And so yeah, but the place, like this word was at least like it wasn't old, like it was like okay, so nothing was like too old, like walls and beds, but beds were just very like rock hard. Like it felt like you sleep on the ground, like literally my like bones hurt because I'm pretty skinny, and so it hurt to sleep on such a rock hard bed. And so after a few days, I finally see my doctor there. She invites me to her office, and she lets me call my mom. That's I guess my first memory, one of my first memories in this hospital. So I call my mom. I started crying. I remember that I started crying, and then the doctor, like, then we go back to the ward, and she tells the nurses to give me tranquilizers because I'm like crying. Because yeah, you're not allowed to show your emotions there. Crying there is bad. They will give you tranquilizers or get you injections. I'll tell you later what happened to one of the women there, because it was, by the way, it was just a women ward, a ward for women, like only women were lying with me there. And so in a few days, I get transferred to other rooms, just rooms where you can walk freely around the ward. So like in the corridors, you can like go play puzzles in the cafeteria, and in those rooms there are around 6 beds. Yeah, and not every bed had a bed table. I think we only had 2, and so we had to share them. But it's fine. My relatives sent me my toothbrush, panties, and like all the necessities. And the food, like snacks, like cookies, apples, bananas. But you're not allowed to eat them whenever you want to. So your food is locked in these closets, and you only get them in like 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. It's like snack time, and they give you your baskets with food. You eat, and then they take the baskets away. So we had like our snack time, so to speak, which is great because at least I had tasty cookies and apples, because the food in the hospital is disgusting. Like, it's impossible to eat it. And plus I'm a vegetarian, so I couldn't eat the majority of things there. And even things that I could eat, like for example porridges for breakfast, I can't eat porridge. But the way they cooked it, it was just impossible to eat. Or some days we had, it was called mac and cheese, but cheese was apparently invisible. Invisible cheese. And instead of cheese there was like water, so it was like pasta in some sort of broth, watery broth. Don't even want to remember, but I had to eat it to, you know, at least eat something, because during I spent there a month and I lost around 6 kilograms in the hospital. 6, 7. Yeah, I lost quite a lot of weight during my month. And so after I got transferred, my injections stopped and they started giving me my pills. My first pills there were risperidone, and they made me experience pretty bad things. Like, I was drooling a lot, and I remember that I was always sleeping. I remember that I was always sitting like this, and like my saliva was like dropping out of my... Sorry, it's disgusting, but that's true. And around after a week of taking them, my period started, and they weren't supposed to, so they messed up my cycle, these pills, and I started to have milk in my breast. Can you believe? And I've never been pregnant or anything. It's just a side effect. Like, this certain hormone in your body gets higher and it causes all of these symptoms. So I told the doctor, and at that time our doctor got changed. So instead of a woman, I started to have a guy, and he prescribed me other pills, Zoldex or ziprasidone. If you know, you know. And yeah, but it's still quite hard in the hospital, like the whole vibe there. Even though most people are fine, like I looked at most women there and I was like, what? Why are they here? Like, you wouldn't tell that they're sick. Well, some of them, of course, especially like old grandmas with like dementia, obviously it's noticeable. But like some women are so like nice and polite, and like it's nice to have conversations with them. Like, well, most of them were like older, and even my friend bipolar, she's like so calm and nice. Like, I would never say that she has a mental illness. She's very nice. And even myself, like, I was very calm there. Like, nurses never like were mad at me for anything. I was a very good patient, and majority of people are very nice. So this stereotype that, you know, you always get like this and everyone's crazy, they're running around screaming, it's not true. Some people, yes, unfortunately, but the majority are just sad people, just sad because you can't be happy there. You have no privacy there. You have very strict schedule, and you have no privacy there. Like in the bathrooms, we only showered once a week. Yeah, like our full body. We had like bidet thing for like washing our private zones, because thankfully we were allowed to, like, you know what bidet is. It looks like a toilet, but you kind of can wash your butt and stuff. But like to wash your hair or your whole body, it's only once a week, and in those it was usually Friday or Saturday, and we would also change our bed sheets and our hospital clothes. So I realized, because other people also told me, that you shouldn't be honest with doctors if you want to get discharged as fast as possible. Because if you tell them how you actually feel, you will get discharged in like months. And if you want it as fast as possible, you should, because every morning our doctors would just, visit every patient and ask how they feel, how the pills are working. And everyone, like especially people who have been in hospitals like a few times, they told me like, always say you're good, everything's good, you have no side effects, and blah blah blah. And this is how you get discharged. Because I know you would say this is stupid, you could ask for help and get better, but you're put in such unhumanizing environment, like you really don't feel like a human there. Like you're only allowed to have a call once a week, like for 2-3 minutes. Like I could only talk to my mom, and because of COVID we weren't allowed to go outside to have walks, so we were just locked inside. We weren't allowed to have visitors because of COVID, so we were just locked with like no phones, no nothing, just we couldn't talk to anyone. And like the hygiene's bad, and just everything is like so strict, and the pills you have to take them. So, but at least that word was like not old looking, and everything, at least it was not as disgusting to be there, in the rooms. But oh, I didn't tell you about the why you weren't allowed to cry there. So I shared a room with one of the women. She's around my mom's age, because she had a daughter like me, so she's maybe like 40 something. And she had an anxiety disorder, like a very bad one. She was afraid of like sounds, like something that, like if a car just drives by in the window, she's like, what is it? But she's like very normal. We had like conversations. She like and stuff. Anyway, and so at some point when our doctors changed, there was this problem with the calls. Like they didn't allow us to have calls. Like they would say, oh, you had it a few days ago, which is not true. Like I couldn't call my mom for a week and a half, and my mom was also like going crazy because of that, because she was waiting for my call and it would never, come. And the woman that I lived in with the anxiety disorder, she wanted to call her daughter really badly, and she also hadn't had call for quite some time. And so she asks the doctor, please, can I have a call? And he declines once again, because again they changed and everything got messed up. And so she got too emotional and just started crying normally, like not like a crazy person. She was just like, yeah, having like a cry moment, because she missed her family and she couldn't talk to them, and it feels lonely there, let me tell you. Yeah, you're surrounded by lots of people in the hospital, but you need your family, your loved ones. And so she started crying, and she gets transferred back from this room to the watching room, where you get injections again. So if you basically, you can always, so like this watching room is like step 1, like level 1. And so if you do something wrong, you cry, or you show weird behaviors or something else, or maybe your side effects from the pills are bad, you go back to to that watching room, and you get injections once again. And I remember how much the woman changed, because she got so pale after she started to have injections. She skipped meals because she just didn't feel like eating. I felt so bad for her that she had to go back to level 1 pretty much. And at some point, our ward was supposed to get closed because they wanted to adjust it for COVID patients, so the patients with COVID. And we all started to slowly get transferred to other wards in the territory. And luckily I got transferred along with my friend. We got transferred together, but where we got transferred is such a rat hole. Like it's just old, just scary. The light is so like dark. I don't know, it's just very uncomfortable there. And we arrived there, and so this place is just horrible. I wanted to add that when we got transferred, I almost had a mental breakdown, and because I saw this horrible place and how bad everything was there. And while my friend thankfully managed to calm me down, because of course if nurses saw me crying or having an anxiety, they would have put me in a watching room. So, and also when we got transferred, it was evening time and they didn't have my pills in store. So before bed they gave me just a tranquilizer so I could fall asleep, but because I didn't get my dosage, I started to have this withdrawal syndrome, I guess. I couldn't sleep. I felt very like a fever. I felt like it felt like a fever. I was shaking and I was sweating, and I couldn't fall asleep even though they gave me tranquilizers. But in the morning they already had my pills and everything got back on track. Like, so they were like, so the watching room, just like in that in the other word, the watching room, and then 3 rooms with 10 beds there, and only 1 bed table for 10 people. Nice, right? And the distance between the beds is literally this much. Like, this is literally your bed, then this small space, and another bed, like even less personal space. Oh, and also they would never turn off the lights in the night, so it was hard to fall asleep. Because, thanks to the pills, it was easier, but it was still harder because they never fully turned off the lights, and we had to sleep with lights on. I remember putting like a napkin on my eyes. And funniest thing, then after these 3 rooms came a cafeteria. And so in the left side of the cafeteria there is tables where we eat. Then on the right side there are like chairs in front of the TV. We had a TV there. And then on the back, after the chairs, there are other beds where other patients slept. It was kind of like another room. So literally, cafeteria was the same place with another room. So literally, some people slept in the cafeteria or in the leisure room, because where the TV was, it was also a leisure room. So it's like 3 places in one. I was like, oh my god, like, why? But I didn't live there. We chose a room, but the beds were also very uncomfortable, and yeah. Also, someone would always steal other people's toilet paper. Like, I also got stolen, like, not the whole toilet paper, and it was a girl in my room. She stole. I just caught her once. She didn't steal the whole roll, like, but she would always like rip something off. She could have asked, I would have given her, you know. So, but I didn't spend that much time in that ward, luckily, because I was already on my way to getting discharged. So I was probably spent there a week or a bit more than a week, maybe 2 weeks. It was really bad. There were more people like that were hard to have conversations with, more ill people there, I would say. And yeah, so, but I met my doctor, my first doctor, the woman. She got transferred there, and then we got transferred in that word again. So she became my doctor again. And so this Zelda pills, I started to I didn't take my morning pill. I only took them in the evening, but in the morning I would take them at first, but then I noticed that they give me a really bad side effects, and I didn't want to tell the doctor because I wanted to get discharged as fast as possible. So I just, like, I would spit the pill out in the morning, and then I would put it in my pocket, and I would wait for the toilet stop, because when there is the pill taking time, the toilets are always closed during when you have to take the pills, and when it's meal time, the toilets are closed. Oh, and also in the cafeterias we only ate using spoons, so no forks. Well, I guess it's obvious because it's a mental hospital. Obviously you wouldn't allow to have razors, so we would like have hairy legs and all the other parts. Oh, and they would also do our, like, trim our nails as well, because we're not allowed to do that. And the worst part is that we weren't allowed to have our phones, because like it was very boring there, and also very lonely. You couldn't text anyone, and very, very boring, because like, yeah, we had some puzzles there, chess, but like and some books, but most books were like medicine books. There were some novels, but again, for some reason the choice was disgusting, and it still was boring. We played a lot of domino and chess with my friend because there is literally nothing to do, but sometimes it gets boring. Or we would walk back and forth in the corridors, and we would call it, let's go on a walk. We call it a walk, and we would just go back and forth. Also, my friend and I, we did a little bit of stretching and sports in the evening. Well, not crazy sports, because like we were in these robes, but we would just, like, do this, maybe some sit-ups, something like that, for like maybe an hour and a half. So we tried to occupy our time as much as possible. Oh, I forgot to mention, remember I told you about this room where the tables and the leisure room and other beds were. So from 11 a.m. to around 2 p.m. you get locked in that room. Everyone gets locked. They do it so we don't lie in our beds in the hall. We are given this pills that make you so sleepy sometimes, and they don't allow us to lay in bed. And that was actually the main reason why I stopped taking my morning pills, because I couldn't, like, rest, because I lost my vision. They would just knock me off, and it was impossible to just sit in the on the chair for 3 hours. And they would only allow us to go to the bathroom once, everyone at the same time. There was like a huge line to the bathroom. The lines in the hospital was always a thing. USSR vibe. When we're given our pills, the line, and we wait, to get our pills. When we have, so like the bedtime meal, we were given like, I don't know, like a tea and an egg, or like bread with cheese, and again a line to get your food. But basically, yeah, so we would get locked in that room from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and there is not much to do. Well, you can read your book or watch the TV, even though the grandmas would turn the most boring things on, and you can't fight grandmas for the TV. Or like play domino or stuff like that, but like it was like the worst time. We would just get locked there, and it's unbearable. And also the fact that you can only allow to go to the bathroom once, because I'm a kind of person that needs to pee quite often, and for me it was torture. And once I wanted to pee earlier than the time we were allowed to go pee. Again, like animals, they tell us when to pee, when to not pee, they lock us in the room. Cool, right? And so I tell the nurse that I want so badly, I can't wait anymore. She said, wait till the time comes. And I waited for another 20 minutes, and I realized that it hurts already. I come up to her almost crying. I'm telling, like, it hurts already, like I'm about to burst. She was like, all right, blah, blah, blah. Can you imagine? That's also what I wanted to add, because I think that's too much to lock people in the room, people who take such hard pills that make you feel really bad, and they just make you sit in this room. This is inhumane. So yeah, that's what I wanted to add. And what else did I want to say? So yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess. Yeah, so no personal space. Also in the bathrooms you have no like doors. So there were like the toilets on one side and the toilets on the other side. So when you sit on one side and someone can sit in front of you and you're like, so how's it going? So, but you kind of lose all of the, you kind of stop feeling uncomfortable while, you know, doing your toilet things in front of other people, because we were all in this together. And yeah, also showering, like the nurses would shower you. Yeah, you know, unfortunately it was also once a week. I remember there was always like I felt like I always have to like, I felt so scratchy. And then I came back home, started showering regularly, and it went away. So yeah. Yeah, the environment is pretty bad. They're very lonely, depressing, and people there, they don't care about their mental state or their health. They only care about getting discharged, because it's so just, yeah, you don't feel like a human. You're not allowed to go outside, you don't see the people you love, you don't know anything that's going on in the world. Well, you do, because we had TV, so we could watch the news, but yeah, it was a pretty tough experience, but thankfully I had a friend there. It helped. I got discharged a bit earlier than she did, but still. I remember I was waiting for that day for so long to get discharged. It was just my dream there. I only dreamed of getting discharged. And that's it, because really hard. I was losing weight because I couldn't eat normally, and just bad hygiene, 10 people in the room, and just this sad vibe there. So, but I finally got discharged in a month, and yeah, hopefully I'll never end up in a mental hospital in Russia or anywhere. I don't think it's any better. Maybe it is a bit better in other countries, but I don't think it's much better. I think mental hospitals are pretty tough everywhere, really. But in Russia, it has like USSR rules and vibes kind of, like, yeah. And also doctors, they kind of lied to my mom, because they were like, oh, like they say, oh, she's gonna work with a psychologist and blah blah blah. But in the Russian hospital, you know, like in American movies, there is these scenes when they sit in a circle and like talk about their problems. No, not in Russia. All treatment we got was pills. There was no therapy, just the pills. That's it. No circles like that. The psychologist, yes, everyone has to have a meeting before getting discharged, and the psychologist just gives you literally basic tests just to see if you're dumb or not. Like, choose your favorite color, then so the cards was like animals, people, flowers, I don't know, food, and you have to like make folders, like flowers to flowers, people to people, you know. And then you had to draw like a person and an animal, I think. And everyone has to do it. It doesn't help you psychologically. It's just stupid tests, and you don't even get an explanation like what your answers like meant. So great, isn't it? So yeah. So thanks for listening and taking your time to hear my story. I hope it was interesting. And yeah, I'm making videos about schizophrenia and how to live with schizophrenia. I film vlogs and other content. So if you would like to see my other content, just welcome to my channel and subscribe. And I would appreciate a lot if you subscribed and liked my videos. So see you next time. Bye.